Mr. Doubleina, Mr. Bob Doubleina, Mr. Doubleina, Mr. Bob Doubleina, Mr.
Baba Bowie. A wise man once said, there are as many video games as there are grains of sand in the entire universe. But an even wiser man said, there are no games. I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. There are some games. But are there? There are only so many hours in the day, specifically 24, unless you subscribe to the time cube theory, in which case there are even less hours in a day, but more days. You gotta budget your gaming time wisely. Venturing out into the unknown is scary and expensive. For most of my life, the only games I ever really played were Monopoly Party on GameCube and Glover. I didn't expand my horizons until I was a little bit older, 6, and got into cult classics like Super Mario 64, Team Fortress 2, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But it's never enough. You'll never be the ultimate gamer if you don't play everything. RPGs, RTS, FPS, online chess, platformers, 3D platformers, collectathons, open world exploration games with mild RPG elements, third-person action games with mild RPG elements, movement shooters, puzzle games, deck building games, deck power washing simulators, JRPGs, action RPGs, rhythm games, beat 'em ups, roguelites, and roguelikes. Nobody knows what the difference is, but apparently there is one. Sandbox games, Soulsborne, Souls-likes, but there is one genre that you don't have to give a fuck about. Sports games. You go into a crowd of gamers and yell, "I'm not gonna play Madden!" and you'll be fine. They'll probably give you a medal. Do that with Claire Obscure and you're gonna be beaten with hammers. Or at the very least have like 40 guys come up to you and say, "It's actually really good, you should play it." Try saying I ain't playing Donkey Kong and see how long it takes for a barrel to blast. Tetsuya Yamagami how I make that barrel blast. Sports games get no respect at all. Meathead games for meathead jocks. First they steal my lunch money, now they're stealing the concept of also having PS4. This machine is for Nier Automata, not NHL 15, motherfuckers. Sure, there are some people who live double lives and keep up with both EA College Football 26 and Silksong, but they're not common. They're what I like to call God's most sparkling children, because they're able to exist in two worlds at once. Gaming within the full spectrum of human emotion that I can just never give a shit about. But why is that? Aren't these all just video games? I have no real-life interest in murder or owning a theme park, but that hasn't stopped me from doing both in the same game at the same time. So in theory, even if I don't care about sports IRL, maybe I would care if they were made out of pixels. I love pixels. They've been making sports games almost as long as they've been making games, so they must be onto something. They must be good games, right? I've always kind of wondered if I was missing out on this sector of the gaming world, and I want to know why it's so written off, why we're so content to just say that sports games are perfectly suited to collecting dust on the shelves of Goodwills across the world. What if fucking EA Triple Play 2002 is actually my next favorite game ever made? What if? That's what we're gonna find out today. Or more accurately, what I already found out because I already played a bunch of sports games. This is just the intro to a video talking about this. I write and record these videos after I do the thing it's about. I'm not actually doing it in real time as the video progresses. Between late July and late August, I played somewhere around 50 or more sports games. I stuck to more traditional team sports like soccer, football, hockey, basketball, and baseball, but also other shit too, like golf and volleyball. I also didn't do anything like skateboarding or pinball because those aren't sports, they're crimes. And no boxing, WWE, or UFC because those are fighting games, I decided. I tried to get an even spread of the past, more recent past, and present to get the most based and epic and red-pilled point of view I could on the medium. So here's all the amazing and inspirational shit I learned by playing sports games. Here are my 3 wisdoms. The 3 wisdoms about sports games. Should that be the title of the video? What if this video is called, I played every sports game ever made? What if I made the title a lie? and the thumbnail said day 1 on the left side, and I'm like an ugly, fucked up looking nerd. And then on the right side, it said day 15, and I'm like ripped and beautiful, and I'm wearing like football gear with perfect teeth.
Real men don't need instructions.
Throughout my adventures in the wonderland of sports gaming, I frequently found myself lost and alone trying to figure out just what the fuck was going on. Look at all this shit. Look at how many little guys are running around the field here. There's like 200 players on the field. What the hell is this? Sports have a lot of rules and little secrets that to a well-oiled and seasoned fan makes perfect sense. Oh, here's the part of the match where the players line up with their hands over their nuts while the opposing team kicks the ball at them. What the fuck are you talking about, man? You even listening to yourself right now? It is a lot of information to try and understand, so naturally, you would just go to the tutorial, right? Well, not every game has a tutorial, and if they do, it's always just about how to play the specific game you're playing, not the entire sport in question. But not only that, some games do not even have the controls listed in the game. Figure it out your damn self. This is something I encountered so many times, it's insane. If you don't know what a first down is or why you're not allowed to steal the ball in basketball, even though there's a fucking button, that's tough. Fuck you is kind of just the philosophy most of these games seem to have. Is it fairly self-explanatory that the ball goes in the goal? Sure. Does that mean I know what icing is? No. It's all ice. This is hockey. What the fuck do you want from me? Oh, jumping up to block a shot in basketball is goaltending? What am I just supposed to sit there and watch it with my hands in my pockets as I kick up a little pile of dust like, huh, poo. Baseball games in particular almost always piss me off. What the hell is the difference between a ball and a strike? Look at this bullshit in backyard baseball. Look me dead in my fucking eyes and tell me why that was a strike and that was a ball. You can try. I won't understand what you're saying. And none of these games are even going to try to explain either is my entire point. At least with football, I've watched iShield 21, so I understand the basics, but that's anime. And I very quickly learned that running plays suck dick, and the only real option is to just throw it to my wide receivers, just do non-stop Hail Mary passes. On defense, only do blitz, kill the quarterback if we can. I talked to some of my friends who were actually in the sports games, and they told me Hail Mary passes and blitz plays were what they did when they were 7, so give me like 18 years, I'll probably be able to catch up. In Madden, I found myself almost always just doing whatever John Madden told me to, so shout out to the amazing Ask Madden feature. His advice tended to not work at all, and I think across like 5 hours of Madden 08, I only made, I want to say 1 touchdown, maybe 3 field goals. It definitely got my blood pumping, and not much gets me excited these days ever since my husband died in the war. I just wish I could do it more often. Football is a game of strategy. You gotta know how to react to any situation at any moment and how to best utilize the team you have, who are a bunch of shit-eating butt babies, against the team they have, a bunch of hulking, sexy geniuses who are smart and strong and powerful, and are also robots who will do the right thing. And essentially, if you don't know what the fuck any of this is, nothing in the game is going to explain it to you either, and you're not going to have any fun. I didn't have much fun with a lot of football games. And that's how it goes for most of these games, especially the more simulation-based titles where you're playing real rules. I think the sport that won the coveted Pissed Me Off a Bunch award would have to be regulation basketball. The rules of basketball are incomprehensible. I'd have an easier time building a chair from scratch than understanding any foul in basketball. When I played NBA 2k12, I think I set off some sort of foul or broke a rule damn near every minute or so. I mean, my job's supposed to be catching rebounds, isn't it?
Dixon defended by Anderson, and there's the defensive 3-second call.
Of course.
And he shows the focus.
Why do they get a free throw if they didn't? Who wrote this rule book? A golden retriever? That's what I bet. Shot clock violations, goaltending, traveling, defensive foul, reach-in foul. It was ridiculous. My teammate grade, I think, was like F-. I'm sure when you break it all down, every rule makes sense, but they don't explain any of it. 2K12 literally does not have any tutorials at all. 2K23 did, and honestly, just my opinion here, NBA 2K might be one of the most mechanically overwhelming games I have ever seen. Look at this shit. Hold down R2 and move right stick left, then release to do an escape crossover, or move right stick up, then quickly release to do an in and out dribble. To not only remember that in the heat of the game, but to also identify the scenario where you need to do that, I feel is pretty advanced gamer shit. I have my issues with this franchise, but if you think people who mastered these games aren't real gamers, you're full of shit. Beating Mario Sunshine is not impressive. I did it when I was a child. Being good at 2K is impressive, I swear to God. I'm giving you your flowers now. In sports like soccer or hockey, I found it crazy difficult to get any points because of these assholes standing in the goal. Get out of there! I'm trying to score, you bunch of jackasses! Although I guess if they weren't in there, the game would be way too easy. I mean, it wouldn't even be hard. I'd just put it in. So I guess maybe they're necessary. But all this is to say, these games are not very beginner friendly. They aren't made with the expectation that you don't know anything. And to be fair, why would they be? Who is this hypothetical guy who just randomly says, let's see what's Madden 09 like after a lifetime of only playing tiddlywinks? He doesn't know what this means. He doesn't know what a PA middle shot is. He has no idea who Brett Favre is. He doesn't know why his name is spelled like that if R comes after V. Hey, fuck you, Brett Favre. Learn how to spell Brett Favre. Favre. I think at some point they did start pandering to this hypothetical guy, or more likely a sports fan who is new to video games. Because the more modern games I played, like NHL 21 or Madden 21, did actually have difficulty options and arcade or realism options, and I was better at those. The debate about whether or not video games should have difficulty or accessibility options is a complicated and annoying argument that I haven't the time or care to get into right now. I'd literally rather fold my laundry. And I'm not kidding. I do think it's nice, but again, my point is about how most of these games just left me confused because none of them have an absolute beginner mode for stupid babies. I guess no games have that really. Call of Duty shouldn't be expected to say, okay, so this is a gun and it fires bullets. Gran Turismo doesn't have to explain what a car is to me. And I get what the fundamental basics of these sports ball goes over there is, but it'd be nice if they were at least like, hey, here's why you're dog shit and everything you're doing is wrong and stupid, bitch. And they just like explained what the rules were. But real men don't need instructions. Plus we do have like computers, so I could just like Google all this shit and like figure out what I'm doing wrong.
Variety is the spice of life.
Way back over 100 years ago, in the 90s and 2000s, the ecosystem of sports gaming was very different. You might say there was a little bit of something for everybody. Serious ass, let's get down to business ass, realistic sports games like your EA Sports Maddens, NHLs, and NBA Lives, but also more ridiculous, silly shit like NHL Hits by Midway, where you can play as a team of rats against a fucking team of pirates in a goddamn Old West rink. We had what I call fun style sports games. These do technically still exist today, but they're an endangered species being kept on life support by the occasional Mario Tennis or golf game once or twice a decade, and also Super Mega Baseball 4, but that's not even that kooky in my opinion. But when I say variety, I don't just mean variety of gameplay styles, I also mean variety of developers too. Even amongst serious, real deal, grounded sports titles, it used to be a whole gaggle of studios doing their take on NFL football or their take on NBA basketball, and so on and so forth? Was it perhaps market oversaturation and we really didn't need several games releasing every year that were mostly the same thing but with slightly different controls and slightly different mechanics? Perhaps. Did it also force them to create better products because there was competition and options, and if you made a shitty game this year, your customers might switch to your competitor's game, and now you have to make good games? Yeah, it did that. It did do that. Yeah, it did that. It did that. That happened. That was something that happened. But choice is always a good thing. Dealer's choice cuts of meat, Sophie's choice. Oh wait, no, not that one. Comment down below, which choice should she have made? Which child would you save? So let's explore some of the options and choices you used to have if you wanted to indulge in sports gaming. Don't like regulation basketball? I sure don't. Good thing we got the masterpiece that is NBA Street Volume 2. This game is a work of art. NBA Street Volume 2 is a cel-shaded 3-on-3 style basketball game where the emphasis is on doing wild and crazy ass dunks and disrespectful combos to shit all over your competition. There's way less rules. You can block shots, steal the ball, bounce it off their face, activate game breaker mega modes. It's amazing. It's got so much soul. It's got so much aura. It's an absolute love letter to street basketball culture, or so I'm told. I am white and from South Dakota, so I don't know actually. There was also Street 3, which is overall not as good, but it has Mario, Luigi, and Peach in the GameCube version. My boy Luigi, he a straight shooter, if you know the reference that the double speak I'm doing. That's pretty cool. I wish every console got exclusive characters. I mean, imagine if on Xbox you had Master Chief, Arbiter, and Cortana. Mind telling me what you're doing, Chief? Sir. Fucking balling. Or on PS2 you could have Ratchet, Clank, and Dr. Nefarious. EA Big. Hire me 20 years ago. NBA Street Home Court on 360 is also pretty cool. I know people dog on this game, but I really like it. You can do double dunks. That's awesome. Don't like NBA Street Volume 2 or want a different take on it? Street Hoops, NBA Ballers, Ludacris is in this one. And One Street Ball, NBA Hoops, Backyard Basketball, Mario 3-on-3, NBA Jam, NBA Jam, NBA Jam, NBA Jam. I think there's another, NBA Jam, Wii Sports Resort Basketball. You have options. If you want an arcade or 3-on-3 basketball game today, what do you have? Dunk Lords? Okay. Some microtransaction Chinese spyware game? Fuck me. Okay. EA Big also took the Street series to football and soccer with the NFL Street and FIFA Street series. Similar ideas as NBA Street, smaller teams, less restrictive rules, and way more pick-up and play oriented. NFL Street 2 in particular, I would go as far as to say I loved. Exhibit is in this game for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think he has anything to do with football. These arcade games are actually kind of a great way to learn the basics of the sport in a more fun and simple way. And NFL Blitz 2000 is also a great arcade-style football game. NFL Street 2 in particular does this really helpful thing where the plays are split up into categories like run plays, pass plays, and trick plays, which actually help me understand what the fuck any of this chicken scratch actually meant, instead of just asking Madden and then not knowing what he expected me to do. I was actually able to properly evaluate my options, consider all the factors, like how that guy can't fucking catch, so even though this other guy is double covered, I still trust him more to pick up the pass than the guy who's like wide open.
Fun fact, this was a terrible play call and we lost the fucking game.
Look at me saying shit like double covered and wide open. I'm learning. I can learn anything. FIFA Street 2 also earned the patented only soccer game I liked award.
Fun fact, wait, what the fuck am I talking about? I liked Mario Strikers, charged way more than FIFA Street 2. Why did I say that?
No disrespect to Soccer Mania, the Lego-themed soccer game. It was cute, must-have for fans of soccer and 90s Lego themes, but FIFA Street 2 was cooler. I'm not good at it at all, but I love the urban street aesthetic of it all. I liked how it made me feel like I was actually Brazilian. You can do tricks and bounce the ball around, and it's pretty cool, even though it always kind of just entirely fucked me, but I think you're supposed to do it with, like, some sort of strategy, perhaps. Did you know it's actually possible to play Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball with one hand? I'm serious, the players move on their own, so you can just, keep your right hand on the A button, and your left hand's free to do whatever you need to do. The best part of the game, though, is gambling. I spent way more time in the casino than the beach, like way more time. This game also has a fantastic soundtrack. I mean, what other game has both Christina Aguilera and Real Big Fish? They could afford both of them. Just for posterity, I should mention, you can also play backyard baseball with one hand. You shouldn't, though. You sick fuck. Speaking of amazing soundtracks, Tiger Woods 99 has a really glorpy-ass soundtrack.
No way.
My girlfriend said the soundtrack is supposed to represent how it feels to be a golf ball. I just think that's beautiful. The point I'm getting at here is that there was a time when sports games had variety. You had your pick of the litter, whether that was Sim, Simcade, Arcade. You had multiple different studios making multiple different versions of each concept. The games had immaculate art direction, memorable soundtracks, and they were full, complete games that came loaded with features, bonus modes, no tutorials, silly shit. They had a much wider appeal, and that brings me to my final wisdom.
Everything sucks, and I'm mad.
Sometime around the PS3, Xbox 360 generation, when these consoles really started to do some, like, online shit, publishers realized they could maximize profits while also completely screwing over everybody. DLC and loot boxes hit the industry hard, we all know this. Suddenly the game didn't have to just be this complete package that you pay full price for and have a full product. Now you can pay full price and get less and then pay more on top of that. I think this has affected every game for the worst, but sports games may be the most hard hit and most degraded by scumbag practices that have gone to some extent unnoticed or uncared for by the larger gaming community. Over the last 17 years or so, let's just say since the PS2 died, sports games started to shrink. They came with less features, they were less interesting, less studios made them, and arcade-style titles almost entirely disappeared from the market, particularly actual licensed arcade titles. They did have more graphics though, so that's something. They ain't even putting rappers in these games for no reason anymore. Like, what's the point? They aren't doing loading screens with a big ass CD-ROM in the background. What happened? We lost recipes. Part of this stagnation is due to exclusivity agreements like the one EA and the NFL have, where EA is the only studio who's allowed to make NFL games, although I should note that that agreement only covers simulation football. Another studio could theoretically make a new arcade-style game, which is how NFL Backyard Football continued to exist, but I digress. But that still means in the realm of sim football, Madden is just allowed to stagnate and do whatever the hell they want because there's no competition. If Madden sucks this year or for the last 15 to 20 years, there is no alternative. After the licensing agreement, 2K tried to do unlicensed football games with made-up teams, but nobody wants to be an unlicensed bootleg. Nobody wants to buy that shit even if it is better. Nobody wants to play as the purple and yellow team. No, they want to be the Vikings. They don't want to be the green and white team. They want to be this green and yellow is Green Bay. Green and white is Eagles. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. There was also Midway's Blitz the League series that were M-rated, gritty football games, and I would have loved to try those, but they wouldn't work on my emulator, so rip. Indie studios try too, but that NFL logo on the title screen is like crack to people who want to spend money. kind of like crack. You think I'm playing Axis football? Yeah, wake me up when there's Allied football. I don't want to be limited to just teams from 1940s Germany, Imperial Japan, or Fascist Italy. Okay, well, actually, that sounds kind of funny. Over the years, Madden has lost a ton of awesome features like create a team, create a stadium, create a play, classic teams, and just a ton of other shit that I only know about because I watched some soft drink TV videos. But NFL and EA are the only exclusivity licenses out there. Nothing is stopping anyone else from doing their own basketball game to compete with NBA2k, or anyone else doing a hockey game to compete with EA NHL. The market's kind of just naturally selected one studio to do the basketball game or the baseball game, and so on and so forth. So with no other options, if you want to play a new football game, it's pretty much Madden or nothing. But sir, couldn't I just keep playing last year's game or an older one? They release yearly, so if you don't care about online features, you can just keep playing the games from a few years prior without missing much. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Unfortunately, I meant it when I said everything sucks now. You can't even buy Madden 24 on Steam anymore. That is a 2-year-old game. But let me tell you how much worse it gets. The most modern Madden I played was Madden 21, and I chose this one because... and I chose this one for a few reasons. I could get it physically for pretty cheap used. It had a campaign with BioWare-style dialogue boxes and cutscenes, and a new mode called The Yard, which is more arcade-style 6v6 football. So it seemed like a good modern one to check out. So I bought it on PS4, put that son of a bitch in the console, and I could not believe what I discovered. We're gonna do The Yard first, because I feel the most, confident I'd like that. Is it loading? What's going on? You have to hold it? How do I, Okay, let's restart the game. Do I have to sign into EA to play The Yard? Does this game not work anymore? EA tied the campaign and the Yard modes to online, which means that because they shut down the Madden 21 servers earlier this year, you can never play the campaign ever again. You can never play The Yard either. Imagine if you paid full price for this game and actually liked the campaign. That sucks. It's gone. They killed the game and you can't play it ever again. The single player story mode is online only? What a bunch of assholes! You can still do franchise mode or random exhibition games, but the actual selling points and features on the back of the box are gone forever. Oh, they actually don't even mention the campaign on the back. That's weird. Maybe they knew. This is scummy to the highest order. The games have obsolescence built into their very design to force you into buying the newer version every couple of years. And EA isn't the only one doing this. Since I think 2016 or 17, NBA 2k has started doing the same thing to the My Career mode, the main mode of the game. They tie it to online, and then once the online is shut down, that's it. Your disc is a coaster now. Why did they do this? Are they just mean? No. It's actually for a more evil reason. Gambling. It was so fun in Dead or Alive, but that was apparently actually foreshadowing the modern dark reality of sports gaming. Here's our old friend, the loot box. We know him, we love him. Starting with FIFA 09, EA had this epic idea to let players spend real-world money on packs of digital trading cards to build a fantasy team of players with cards you randomly pull and then trade with other players in an auction system. You didn't need to spend real money, and you still don't. You could earn it very slowly by playing the game, but this is faster and easier, and if you want to dominate online, this is how you do it. What, don't have literally 22,000 hours to build an ultimate fantasy team the free and natural way? Well, I guess you just have to buy it then. This concept has since spread to every major sports franchise from NHL to MLB The Show to NBA 2k. These games are pay to win now, facilitated through gambling aimed at children, and it's a very complicated and confusing system, but I can't help but think it was maybe better when it was like a disc that you bought at the store. and the entire game is on that disc and you play with your friend and eat a pepperoni pizza. And if you had the version from like 5 years ago, that's fine. It still works. This Ultimate Team gambling nightmare system is why these games release yearly and then go offline so quickly after next year's game comes out. It's so people buy the digital card packs again. Not only do they not carry over to next year's game, they become worthless when next year's game drops. That's why they won't go live service either. The point of the game isn't to be a better game than last year. Who gives a fuck? Buy the gambling. The game from a few years ago couldn't possibly matter less. You don't have to be a business genius to look at these charts and these graphs and understand that you should probably step on the gas and keep this fucked up system going until the collapse of society, which I hear is any day now. But yeah, essentially everything sucks and I'm mad. So at the end of the day, are sports games still fun if you're not into sports? I mean, sure, why not? I think like any game, you'll get out of it what you put in, and if you're not that into baseball, you're not likely to find the meta game of pitching to be super fun, but maybe you will. These games have a tendency to not really be all that accommodating for newcomers to the sport, but if you really want to, yeah, you can put in the effort and learn and get into it and have a great time. A lot of games I played are considered crossover hits, and ultimately, the fact that the only sports games I particularly loved were arcade style should have been the obvious conclusion. Damn, he liked the thing that was made to have mass appeal. Incredible content. I would obviously say though, stick to the older stuff for the most part, especially if American football, soccer, and basketball are what you want. Sports like baseball, hockey, or golf, I reckon are just unpopular enough that the corporate bigwigs don't consider scamming you to be worth it or viable enough. I mean, they're trying a little bit, but the market isn't quite big enough at the moment, so it seems like fucking them in the ass is just not at the top of the priority list. They're a bit safer. I think the larger gaming landscape as a whole is just really mean and unsympathetic to sports gaming. They really love posting this meme whenever people don't want to play Deltarune or some shit. But ever since I saw what EA did to Skate 4, I found myself mentally doing the two worlds, one family shit from Tarzan with pissed off Madden and 2k players. We're the same. Me, Tarzan. You, Jane. We're both helplessly looking at these husks of our favorite series now being these bloated, online, microtransaction-filled horror shows destined to eventually become unplayable when they shut off the servers a few years later. We're both looking at this shit like, what did we do to deserve this? Sometimes I ask myself, do gamers deserve to suffer? And then I look at these graphs and I remember, broadly speaking, yes. Every fucked up practice is the result of the majority of people just not giving enough of a shit to just stop accepting mistreatment. I guess that's how a lot of societal ills perpetuate, actually. I just think maybe we could all learn a thing or two from each other, and if sports gamers need to put down the football and pick up the Buster Sword, maybe you should do the inverse and pick up the football. Somebody's got to do it. That's it from me. I'll see you on the court. Small claims court. I'm suing you for not liking and hyping the video and commenting and emailing it to your manager.
Wake up, I'm the fire burning down your city. I'm burning out of control, whoa.
Let's get some pussy tonight.